Hello everybody, it's Lazel here with another Standard Brawl video in Magic the Gathering Arena. Today we are playing around Old Stickfingers. It is for black and a green and X, and it says whenever you cast a spell, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X creature cards. Put all creature cards revealed this way into your graveyard, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. All Stickfingers' power and toughness are each equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So this is like the perfect reanimation commander. You just try to ramp in the early levels or try to control the board with some early removal spells like Feed the Swarm, Infernal Grass, Power Word Kill. Depending on the board situation, you also have the chance and the time to ramp up, which I like to do, for example, with Emergent Sequence. It gives us an early blocker, it brings out an additional land, and it ain't a creature card in our decks, so not like any other mana dogs. We just play Emergent Sequence, that is a great card, Blood Cheese First. All of these cards help us to get some early pressure from our opponent away. Then we ramp up with either Arcane Signet, the Emergent Sequence, as I just said. Depending on the situation in turn 3, we have the Path to the Festival, we have the Ladder of Acceptance. I like to include this card into the deck simply because I still haven't figured out a way really good to draw cards in this deck, so I like to have this one just as an additional card draw mechanic, Replicating Ring, and so on and so on. Some flashback cards can be very helpful too. Dryad's Revival has proven its value in this deck in my opinion. Balagat Recovery is a card that you will probably find in every green deck. And then we are coming to some, let's talk about the top end, especially on turn 5. You usually have the mana to cast one of your reanimation spells. With the newest set we got Graveyard Shift, which is a great reanimation spell. We can cast it with instant speed depending on if we have 5 or more mana values among cards in our graveyard that have different mana values. That is great. And Okiba Salvage, we have Return Upon the Tide. Draenor the Last Blood Chief is a card that I found to be very powerful in this deck because some of the top end cards in this deck aren't legendary cards and get easily revived with Draenor. So as I've just said, many of your reanimation spells come on turn 5 or when you have 5 mana available, but Draenor is a great addition into this deck. We also play Edgar's Awakening as a reanimation spell. Junji is a card that is probably one of the targets that you want to reanimate, because if he dies you get very strong effects from him dying and then you just recur him over and over again. Invoke Despair is a card that I've added because I just find it is a very good card and it helps us with the card draw problem that I just talked about. I just did some changes. I want to play the Consuming Blob as also a non-legendary creature in combination with the, the Dread Feast Demon. I want to test this one out. And as one of the last reanimation spells, we also play Diagraph Rebirth. It's a great card that we got from Midnight Hunt. And then followed by some of our top end, we have Belador's Riverbloom. It's a great card to be reanimated. The Titan of Industry, of course. Cultivator Colossus, also very powerful, as I've just said. Dreadfest Demon that I want to test. Vorinclex for sure. Maybe I should consider playing some Planeswalkers when I play Vorinclex, but yeah, we will see. Averbrook Caretaker is just so powerful depending on how you play the deck, because as I've already said several times now, I still haven't found a way to enable the card draw, so you often sit there and don't have any cards in hand, and then playing with the day and night mechanic can be very helpful. Followed up by the Burning Rune Demon, our tutor for our deck, with a few different flashback cards in here. It's pretty cool. And Blood on the Snow, also not only a board wipe or killing all planeswalkers, but we also return a creature depending on our snow mana that we've spent for the spell. So this is like what rounds up this deck. One of my favorite cards in the deck is also Dig Up, because I just like the card very much. Coming to the lands, it is simply the best lands that I was able to afford with my wild cards, followed up by basic snowland cards. On 4 we also play the Culling Ritual. It's a very powerful card. I just had scenarios where I easily got the costs out of it by simply casting it, destroying at least 4 non-land permanent cards, so that was great. Binding of the Old Gods, also a good removal. Vastfoot Surge, also as a ramp spell, and Baleful Mastery is an exile removal. The deck is a lot of fun, and I would say we just jump into some games and let's see if we can reanimate some of the very powerful stuff very early on. So let's get going. Alright, first match against Ognis. So one thing about this deck is that you really have to look at some good opening hands. I don't like this one because we have 3 different top end cards in our hand. Although I do have to say we have 2 lands, we have Emergent Sequence, and Return Upon the Tide is also a great one. We are on the draw, but still I don't want to go for it. I want to answer some early threats with this deck. So let's go for a mulligan here. This looks a bit better. A lot of ramp, Invoke Despair that we can work with. So we'll give this one a try. We are missing a reanimation spell, but yeah, we will see. Okay, there's Emergent Sequence. So we are ramping a lot. All that we need is enough. Or we need to find a reanimation spell here. Blizzard Blades early on. That's powerful. That's going to hurt. So we will start off with, I think they have some burn spells or some removal in hand, so I want to start off with the Arcane Signet. Next turn we could go for Vastfoot Surge and keep ramping, but we are already taking 6 this turn at least. Okay, our opponent didn't play a land there, so we will just ramp for now. We will look for, yeah, I want to secure the Invoke Despair, so I see us casting this very soon. Okay, our opponent found a land. This is going to be scary. Okay, so we don't have any reanimation spell in hand. We played a land. I think we will follow up with the Emergent Sequence here, just to bring out a body for next turn. We can still cast the Invoke Despair and they will probably sacrifice the Komano, but I'd be fine with that. And yeah, I guess we will just go for it. See if we draw something. Yeah. There's Junji, the Caretaker. We can hard cast these cards next turn. I guess they will bring out their commander now. Yes. This is going to hurt. They will create some treasure tokens there. Yeah, I don't see us coming back from here. We can gain some life. Hold 2 blockers back. We could use the dig up to thin out our deck, but we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So depending on the situation we could cleave next turn, go for the Blood on the Snow, and then we can wipe the board in the same turn. But our opponent has a lot of mana available, so yes, I guess that's it. Yeah. Well, a good game. Pretty fast game. The Lizard Blades, very powerful card. Yep, good game. And let's go right into the next one. We are against Kodama. Let's see. What do we think about this opening hand? I think it's actually okay on the draw. Alright, no turn 1 play. Let's see if our opponent can follow up with a turn 2 play. Sanctum. This is definitely the target for our Witherbloom command. we will mill ourselves. And we will kill the creature. Alright, we milled flashback cards and sadly probably one of our best reanimation spell. Luckily we still have the value from the flashback here. Our opponent can bring out Kodama and we won't have an option to interact with it. What we can do is play Old Stickfingers for free, use him as a jump blocker. Alright. That is also a modified creature. But we can kill it while we are ramping, and we will definitely do that. I think especially against those early decks that profit from dealing combat damage to a player, just as werewolves, it is so important to keep their board size very small in the early game. Liberator, that is bad, because he can immediately destroy our replicating ring. Should have considered that in our upkeep. But alright, so we have 4 mana available. We sadly missed our land drop, so I guess we will just go for the sequence here. Play out a swamp and we will just foretell our turn upon the tide. Let's see what our opponent does with that. I think if he can find a land drop, modify the Outland Liberator and connect over Kodama, we might have a problem here, but okay, our opponent goes for a single attack here. Will he flash something in? Oh no, interesting. Modifying his creature, alright. Sadly again missed our land drop, but what we simply can do here is we can simply bring up Junji. He's always a good pick. Even if our opponent finds a way to remove it, we will just make our opponent discard 2 cards. It is very powerful in my opinion. Crawling Barons, great card for the Kodama deck. I was talking about it in my video about Kodama, and it is definitely a card that I wanted to include. Okay, found another land. What I want to do now is, we can play aggressive, but we also need to keep in mind that we need to get rid of Kodama. And the best way that we can do it is, we can play Old Stickfingers for 4. I don't want to use all of my removal right away. I want to get my own game engine going, and we will just keep these 2 back as blockers. We have a reanimation spell ready. We will just get back our Dreadfeast Demon, and then we will sacrifice our Old Stickfingers to its ability, or even our land. And that should give us a huge advantage here. Glorious Sunrise, great card. Opponent drew a card. Our opponent apparently definitely sees the struggle that he's about to face, as we are just going to... Or should we start off with... We are having a very reactive gameplay right now. If we play for 4, we still have our Infernal Grasp up. So I want to get our Caretaker here. I think that's also a good target. Also because of we have nighttime. And now let's go to combat. And I think due to this huge buff up we can play a bit more aggressive. I will attack with Junji. Yeah, that's the thing about the Kodama deck. If it doesn't connect early, it really struggles. Storm the Festival, that can be interesting. But if he misses here... Okay. Chariot is fine, but the rest is like, okay, Arcane Signet. Draw a card, fair. Our opponent used 1 spell, yep, and there's the surrender. That was a cool game. Alright, right into the next one. Old Rudstein, let's see. Alright, we have a tapped land, we have two removal spells, but no ramp, no reanimation. This is a mulligan. This looks way better. Caretaker, not what we want to have in our hand, just as a blob. There's a Snarl. So we can foretell or we can go for the sequence here. We have two good cards in hand, so I want a ramp preferably. So let's do that. My opponent is also generating a lot of value with the Eye of Vecna here. Alright, there's their commander. We are going for our fourth land here. Next turn we can bring out the blob, or we can... I think we are too close to just hard casting Return Upon the Tide, and it doesn't make any sense anymore to prepare it with Foretell. We will just put two more creatures in our graveyard. Alright, that is great. Titan of Industry is a great answer for the Eye of Vecna. Gotta keep that in mind. Although Junji is also always a great hit, but Titan of Industry is just too good. Alright, especially now since we have to answer a Westgate Regent. Well, I can say, let's go for it. Yeah. And we will go for the Titan. We will put a shield counter on him and we will destroy the Eye of Vecna. Okay. If our opponent now has exile-based removal, we will definitely have a problem here. But he either would have to... Alright. I mean, that's also a very powerful turn, but we were able to block the Westgate Regent for another turn. And now we will try to play our interactive game again, or reactive game next turn. I think our Titan of Industry is very strong and is definitely the target for future removal spells, so... Oh, okay. Apparently our opponent doesn't have any exile-based removal. Let's go for the next one. Alright, we have a reanimation spell, we have land fixing, we have 3 lands, some early interaction against Ziatora, the Incinerator. Yeah, can keep this. Gotta keep in mind to have at least one of my removal spells for when Ziatora comes out, but along the way there will be some threats that we will have to answer. Shambling Guest or... oh no, Unwilling Ingredient. Also a good card. But not a threat right now. Wanna keep the Bloodchiefs first here. Alright, Riveteer's Overlook. So only a turn 1 play or 1 mana value play. Alright. Warlock class, alright. Edgar's Awakening, that's good. So we still have another land drop in hand, but we haven't drawn any, so I just want to fix it, gain some life back. I think I want to secure double black for the Edgar's Awakening. Next turn we can foretell Return Upon the Tide and go for some interaction with the Bloodchiefs first. Ghoulish Procession, alright. A lot of death triggers here on our opponent's side. but we ain't killing stuff of him. We'll just prepare this. We also could have considered to play Stickfingers for one, but yeah, I'd like to put in some more value into it. Next turn we can Vastwood Search, ramp up, and go for a big Stickfingers here. Opponent is running low on cards in hand, and what he has on the board right now doesn't generate that much value so far. This is interesting, but also a threat. We don't want to draw our win conditions. So let's go for a Swamp and for a Forest here. Next turn we have 7 mana available, that's good. Setchmore, which is really scary here. Although, okay, this must be answered. Ghoulish Procession triggers only on non-token creatures. Our opponent probably played it a bit early. Alright, shields down on the Skewed Swarm, we will immediately answer this one. I would like a board wipe here. Alright, Undying Malice and a Boseiju. If our opponent hits the land drop, we will face 2 Skewed Swarms and then it gets out of hand. So what I want to do here is I will simply kill it and then I will cast Old Stickfingers for free. Also need to keep in mind that I will probably use my Field of Ruin pretty soon just to destabilize our opponent's mana base. So far I haven't seen that much or any treasure synergy from our opponent, so that can be interesting. And we have our Dreadfeast Demon here. Okay. Now we definitely need to find a board wipe. And our opponent has a lot of menace here. And we are getting scarily low. Alright, there's Drana, but we will go for the demon here, let's test it out. And what else can I do? Can kill something for 1, but there is nothing. We can still attack here. Is it at of your end step? Alright. Okay, now we gave him another token. That mustn't have been. And with his menace creatures, he's still very scary. I think if he goes for an all-out attack here, depending on how we block, he can finish us off. We would have to block the Goldspan Dragon. Yeah, I think that's game. Nice, we were a bit too slow. Yeah, and now he will sacrifice his Setchmore Witch to Ziatora and then kill us for free. Nice! Oh, just a decay token. Alright. Alright, we are against Professor Onyx. Interesting against our deck, and this hand we don't want to keep. This looks way better. Wow. Yeah, pick whatever you want. sequence, that was a good pick. Maybe it wasn't wise to play the recovery here. Simply because, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. We hold so many lands, why should we play one of our sorceries? We have no reanimation in hand. Blood Pact, very good. Cosmos Elixir, even better. Five mana, Foretell. Might be a Poison the Cup, there's a reanimation spell, that's good. So what we will do here is we can Foretell and mill us for 2. I think that sounds reasonable. Alright, Caretaker, that's good. Although Onyx searches for the greatest power among creatures, alright. Okay, there's a flunk. Now our opponent will draw cards of Cosmos Elixir, right? Yeah. That's Professor Onyx.
The essence of life is inseparable from the essence of death. Come on, there's gotta be something useful. Ugh.
Okay, how do we play this? We have 3, 6, 8. 3, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we would need 9 for our return, so I think we want to have more answers in our graveyard. I think if we do it like that, we can still mill ourselves. And yeah. Better draw Stunji. That was a great hit. Still found a land there for our next turn. Now we should have all of our threats in our graveyard and then we can start reanimating. I wonder if they are going to kill the Old Stickfingers with the Professor Onyx. Alright, there's Poison the Cup. Might have been worth to do that in their upkeep.
Ugh, there has to be an answer here.
Okay. Before we do anything else, we will have to answer Tergrid. And we will just bring back Stickfingers here. Now we also have a Cultivator Colossus in our graveyard, depending on if we draw another land next turn. That can be interesting too. So he definitely has removal for Old Stickfingers.
Impeccable study habits.
Okay, that's powerful. Okay. So how do we reanimate? I think we want to have Junji in our graveyard, and I think Titan of Industry is also an option just for the... He will get targeted by the ability of Onyx, but he can make a Rhino for us, that would be helpful, and he can destroy the Cosmos Elixir, although our opponent has so much gas already. That ain't easy. The thing about Junji is that if our opponent doesn't answer him with Exile, we can just get something back from our graveyard. So Junji is definitely the first target here that we are going for. And Then with our Okiba Salvage we will... We could also go for the Caretaker. Junji is a 5-5, then he will be the target of the down ability. That can also be interesting because we will get more out of it. Although I am really considering the player. I think we will just try the Caretaker here. I want to keep the land in hand for the Cultivator Colossus if he enters, just so we get some more card draw out of it. Our opponent can activate the Hive after using the down ability. The thing about, we really need to use our Field of Ruin to get rid of the... Wow, he really milled the blood on the snow.
Can deal with you. This is why I'm the
Oh, totally forgot about Professor Onyx's ultimate. Alright, good game. Alright, we are against Jetmir. Tokens probably. Oh yeah, Beladros Riverbloom, also a pretty nice addition or combi with the Dreadfest Feast Demon. So we ramp on 3, we are on the play. I don't really like the sand. This looks a bit better. I mean, still we are ramping on 3, but we have answers for the board that is about to be developed from our opponent. So yeah, we will just try to ramp towards it as fast as possible. Because yeah, they would start off with the Galagreeders. Pretty sure that they will create a treasure token next turn. So we are just developing our mana here. I would like to cast Old Stickfingers before, just to recur something. Yep. Yep, they will go pretty wide here. They are on 3 with... how's it again? 3 or more, so far they have Vigilance. Next turn they can bring him out, and then they also have Trample. I don't really care about the... Okay, this is bad. We didn't draw a land here. So we'll bring this out, and we will cast him for 1. Alright, Beladros. Way too expensive. We won't be able to recur him with the blood on the snow. I mean, we can't anyways, as he costs 7. Okay, Helena and Alena. Yeah, we will definitely have to wipe the board here. Opponent is going way too wide here. Let's see. There's the land, that is good. I don't want to wait another turn, it's just getting way too risky. Especially since Halan and Alena are out. Alright, opponent nicely rebuilding here. Let's see if we can do the same. We would have 3 available. I think I first wanna... Do we wanna first bring out the Caretaker? Yeah, can work as a blocker. The hexproof on the Caretaker is just so good. Oh wow. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell, if it shares a card with the X. Wow, okay. We have nothing in our graveyard again. Yeah. And I will definitely get back the blood on the snow here. So let's see how wide our opponent can go before we wipe the board again. Alright, she Shieldmate, making another token. Alright, opponent keeping 4 mana up, alright. I think we can just pass it back and make it nighttime. But I also would like to keep developing our board. I mean, no, let's wait. 3, 6, 7. He needs 9. He will make another one from the cast of Jetmir. This is sorcery speed. He has 4 mana available. This is risky to wait. I think we will go for an all-out attack here, wipe the board with the blood on the snow, make our opponent discard 2 cards. Yeah, that's reasonable. I think he knows what's about to come. He should block as much as possible. Alright. Okay, we can get back 1 with the blood on the snow. There is still the death trigger. I think Baladros is exiled now. Yeah, he is. So we can make our opponent discard. Alright, what did he discard? And then we will... Totally forgot about the discount on the Diagraph Rebirth, especially for those scenarios. This card is just great. He got rid of Igonja's Uprising. Great, alright. That was a great match. Wow. Having that blood on the snow was just very helpful here. Alright, so overall these were a few games that we had with my Old Stickfingers deck. I think there can still be done some more adjustments to it. Overall, I think it is just very fun when it goes off. What about the cards that I really enjoy in this deck? So, starting off with, I saw way more combinations with the Dread Feast Demon, especially with Baladros or with like sacrificing Old Stickfingers to it. The blob didn't find any action so far in this deck. Some really good cards are Drana still, in my opinion, although we weren't able to play it. Return Upon the Tide is also one of the best reanimation spells due to the Foretell discount, bringing it early in turn 3, turn 4. Depending on what you have found early, it's just a great card in that. Overall, I think it is very funny. It's not that easy to play this deck in Standard, in my opinion. And yeah, but overall it was a lot of fun. I'm just hovering over it to find cards that I really like to play. And Cutting Ritual is something I would have liked to see more play of this card, but we sadly didn't find anything. We have quite a few reanimation spells in this deck and they are doing a great job. Blood on the Snow is just very powerful in this deck, especially with the bombs that we will find in our graveyard. Overall, the Caretaker did an amazing job. The hexproof on the card is just great and simply buffing up our other creatures. And then we are turning this game into more of a reactive play as a reanimation deck, depending on what instant speed removal you have. It's just very powerful. So, and yeah, should consider maybe playing a few Planeswalkers in here, like LoL for example, or also Professor Onyx as we saw it before, because depending on how we find them and when we find them, it can be very helpful with Vorinclex. And Old Stickfingers doesn't find Planeswalkers, so they will remain in the deck. Can be helpful as they answer certain threats, so I guess that will be an addition to the deck. Yeah, but overall, I'd say I hope you enjoyed this video, and then I would say see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.